Hello YouTube friends. So starting off from where we left off, we had a bit of a crash, didn't we, which wasn't very good. What I've done is I've come back into the scene, restarted it and just made some changes, just sort of brought it on a little bit, and I've rendered some stuff out so we can go into After Effects and have a little look what I've done there. So this time I've used some extruded shapes, and I've combined them all together, and again we've used Sculpt Deformer to create some interesting animation, and I've animated the camera now. So this is kind of what we've got. We kind of start underneath all of these shapes and we come up through them, and as we do, the Sculpt Deformer is pulling up, pinching some of these shapes, and I've stuck a sphere in which kind of makes it look like some kind of magnetic madness as putting them all up. And when he gets to here, he just does different bits and bobs, and the camera just goes and follows him underneath there. And all I've done with the Sculpt Deformer is just animate some the movement and some of the displacement min and max attributes. When we come under here, then I just animated the history of the subdivisions of the sphere, just to do something a little bit different and interesting. And then when we get to here, I just whacked in a little booleans animation. So more than anything, it's not so much about the the content; it's about what we're doing, and the end result, and the different things you can perhaps pick up on. I've rendered this in vray. Hopefully, some of you are familiar with vray. I've just used a light dome in vray, and plumbed into that I have a HDRI image. The sphere itself has a fast subsurface scatter shader applied to it, again a vray shader, and there's some noise plugged in to somewhere on that shader, I believe. I'm not sure what I've done, but now whatever. There's some presets within this subsurface shader. We've got sort of milk and ketchup and marble and stuff. So that was that, and these guys did something a little bit different here. I used a standard vray MTL shader, and then I created an edges node, which is here, and I plumbed the edges node into the self-illumination attribute of the MTL shader, which gave us this wireframe on shaded look, which is apparent in the render. Because I did that, I also set up some render layers. I set up a self-illumination render layer so that we can tweak around with that wireframe. Did a Z depth because I really like using Z depth, obviously for the obvious reason of lens blur, but I also like the look of Z depth. That kind of luminance look you get is pretty cool. I rendered out the pure subsurface and a specular, which I'm not going to use, I don't think. So anyway, this is rendered, and if we go into After Effects, we can see what I've done to it. So let's just have a little run through. So, you know, it's quite interesting. And I'll just go through what I did here. So you can see that my bottom layer is the Z depth itself. Let's just turn all the rest off. And I'm actually using the Z depth as a colour pass, really, because as I said, I like the look of it. I like the way it drops off into darkness at the back. As I said, we would usually use it for a lens blur, but today I'm using it for its colour attributes. And on top of that, I've put in the self-illumination. As you can see here, we've got the wireframe effect from the edges node that was plumbed into the self-illumination of the shader. And I should say, it's not just vray that can do this, you can also do that in mental ray of a contour shader. And again, all of the other passes that are here, you could just use an IBL node if you want to do HDRI lighting within mental ray. Again, a contour pass, and you can render out the luminance, Z depth, and subsurface if you wanted to. So the layer mode on this is set to hard light. Above it, I turned on the subsurface, and of course the subsurface only applies to the sphere itself. And if we turn both these off, you can see that. And I used an add on that. The self-illumination, I've just tweaked the levels on the blue channel, so you can see that it just brings a bit of blue into the layer. And then we've got a second subsurface, which I've cranked up the saturation. There's an adjustment layer here, which I'm not currently using. And then this last, the Z depth layer, I quite like. What's happened is given us some nice light bleed, so we haven't had to go in and use some fancy plugins for creating some interesting lighting effects. What I've done here is added this arithmetic node, and you can get to that through that should be in channels. Where's that? In the channel menu, arithmetic, and that gives us lots of different. If I turn off the blur, you can see what it looks like. And let me just solo out that layer, so you can see that it's just basically created loads of different hues which we can crank up and down. And then I thought to myself, well, if we just stick a blur on that as well, that gives us some nice colour bleed. And then on top of all the other layers, when we play that, you can see that it's just starting to come in different areas, and it looks really nice. Yeah, I like that. I like the look of the sphere. It's got kind of a milky, pearlescent type odd look about it. So yeah, it's all looking pretty cool. So I took the liberty of also downloading some sound effects, which for me can really make a piece. And I just want to show you where I got these from. I got these from a place called FreeSFX.co.uk. Now you can just sign up for free with these guys. You can also donate to them. Various different effects are uploaded by different artists, and they all have their own copyright scenarios, but mainly it's basically like, use their stuff, but please, for one, don't resell it, for two, give them a plug, which I do. One of I can't remember which one of my videos has got some of their sound effects used, and in the about description section inside YouTube, it mentions these guys. So if you can use their stuff, do that, because I'm not sure these guys are making money or much money at all for their hard work. So that's FreeSFX.co.uk. Give them a go. Right, so let's import the sound effects. Now I found some really cool sound effects that match this. That match this kind of animation, and I'll show you just exactly what it brings to it, and it's quite something. Okay, so we've got some music going on here. Let's try this flanged tone. Flange, that's a great word, isn't it? Right, so when it gets to about there, I just want to crank that audio down, bring something else in, go minus 100 on that. I'm also going to drag that back a bit. Let's try it again. Okay, sounds pretty cool. Now this discharge one, I think this is the one that I want all the way through it. It's kind of a weird static sound, which adds a little element of oddness to it. I don't actually want it there in the beginning. That all will become relevant in a minute when you hear some of the other stuff that I'm sticking in, the electric droning. I think that drone is really too loud, so I'm just going to pull that back a bit. And I'm just going to animate that sound in. Okay, and then we've got like a boom going on around here somewhere. Where is that? Discharge, long reverse. Droning. FUD. That's what we want. FUD. So, as this pops up like that, I want this FUD to kick in. See what we get. Yeah, do you know what? I really like this static stuff earlier, but it's not working for me at the moment. But the FUD really is. Yeah. Yeah, that's coming together. And what's this long metal reverse? Just give that a bit of a whirl. It couldn't have been timed any more well, could it really? I mean, that was just perfect. And I'm going to stick the FUD in at the same time because it's got to happen. Yeah, so I think also what we could do with this low frequency one, I'm going to duplicate that and stick it underneath all of them because I want a constant nasty sound. I'm just going to stretch the time out on this by about 300%. And let's see what that gives us. I might need to turn it down a little bit so that we get it doesn't override everything else. Let's see what it does. You see how you start building up some little sound clips and things just really start coming together. So this FUD, let's stretch it even more. Let's go about 800 and that should just give us a constant sort of bass rumble, hopefully. Yeah, I'm just going to turn it up a bit because it is there. And this static is doing my noodling, so I'm just going to get rid of that, but I'm also going to time stretch that about 500 and just see if it gives us something. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. In the background it might be alright. See, there's something about the way that sound drops off that I like. We could do something there, some kind of effect over the top of the whole thing. But anyway, as you can see, I've got a bit of a love for sound design as well. It's it just makes all the difference. What could we do? We could do anything. We can time remap everything, just, you know, give it a bit of back and forwards. I don't know really. I should know, but I'm not sure. Stick another adjustment layer in. Let's put something over the top, so we've got some behaviours animation open here. Maybe I want some like bad TV stuff over the top of it. Yeah. Backgrounds, behaviours, image, creative, image, special effects, bad TV, old. Let's stick that on to the adjustment layer. So we could just like introduce that for a brief second. Pull the animation down and let's just go forward a couple of frames. Let do this thing for a few frames and then off and then on and then off and then on and then off, and let's just see what that section looks like. Maybe it just doesn't suit this animation we all been doing. Everyone alright? It's a bit quiet today. Small things, small things. It's a bit matrixy. Well, let's have a look. It's really interesting. It's not quite having it. I don't like the way that just turns off. So, what else can we do here? I think what we could do is add another adjustment layer. And if we go into stylize and stick on this CC Kaleidoscope. Now, this is going to be a bit bonkers. What can we do here? So while this thing does its mad flashing thing, we could just animate this on briefly, just a quick buzzing on and off. Let it do its thing for a minute. And off again, maybe. There's a look. Nah, doesn't suit it at all. But, you know, it's worth trying these things, isn't it? I just like playing around with effects. Find edges. Invert that. Don't like it. I think what I will do is maybe start getting a few more effects into this bit. So got a couple of bits that I normally use in some of my animations just to make stuff look a bit more cool. So I like to use this every now and then. Just a little bit of lens dust. And I'm just going to stick a mask on it, a little bit of a feather. Yeah, and then make that add layer. So that when we get a bit of brightness, we might just scale this up a little bit. Just be a little bit, just a little bit of twinkle. And we'll just animate that in and out. I don't want to go over the top of it. Flashing around a little bit too much for my liking. It's all down to personal taste, of course. I think we had enough of it there. I'm also going to use this a little bit further back where we first start seeing a bit of light here. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use a different layer, and going to have that around there. So really today, this tutorial is a bit more of a ride along. So take it as you please. It might not be your sort of thing to watch me just doing this, but then again, when I was starting out and learning, I love this sort of thing. Thing goes to a peak there. I think I want to see a bit of a glow on the peak. Do you know what I mean? Is anyone there? No one's there. Star eyes. Glow. Add. Turn that up. Don't worry, don't worry. I'm only going to use it on the peak, so I'm just going to hand animate a mask here. Okay, I'm just going to stick a little feather on it. And let's just play around with that, because I don't like things to be over cooked. If that makes sense. I don't really want to be seeing it at the moment. Yeah, and then let's just get rid of this mask completely. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Anyway, I could sit here for hours doing this, guys, but it's late and I'm not going to finish it. But what have we learned? I've shown you the setup in Maya. Let's face it here, this ain't going to win any awards or anything, but it's taken what, half an hour to set up in Maya. Just a really simple little scene, really simple. We're talking like a few extruded shapes that we've rendered really simply, fairly quickly. And because we're using our noodle and creating a bunch of render layers, we can then do something a little bit artistic. So we just bring it into After Effects and just play around with those layers. So again, I didn't start this tutorial with anything in mind, any kind of finished piece. The object of it was to show you my workflow and what you guys could do, you know. So just sit down, get an idea. Maybe you want to use geometric shapes, maybe you want to do something a little bit more organic, maybe it means something to you, whatever you're going to be doing, you know. Express yourself a bit. Again, this is going nowhere, but we've covered animation, sculpt deformers, camera animation, rendering, vray shaders, subsurface, the edges node. We've moved into render layers. We've then come into After Effects. We've brought in different render layers, looked at their attributes. We've added some different effects, tweaks, and looked at how we can just use different multiply layer modes to create something a little bit different. We've looked at sound effects, showing you where to get some free resources. Remember to give them a plug. And we've put something together in, you know, half an hour, which is starting to go somewhere. Again, as I said, you know, you need more of a concept. I really had no concept here, but I like where it's going. I'd want to go back into Maya and create more of it. I don't think it can end where it ends currently, but you know, I might do that. But I urge you to do something like this yourself. I'd love to see any of you guys' stuff. I really would. If you come into, you know, one single problem, shout me out. I'm happy to help anyone out. I'm not doing this so much for the cash. It's more about just connecting, you know, with other artists. And it's also sort of just really to show you that everything's doable. You know, there's a lot of big studios out there, a hell of a lot of people working within them, and you know, doing some amazing stuff. But just remember, there's great big teams behind these people, so don't ever beat yourself up, you know, when you look at some of their stuff and think, oh, I could never do that. So what, you can never do that, you know? There's not 20 if you're working on something. Just do what you can. Do some of your own stuff. Enjoy what you've learned, and enjoy learning. Anyway, I am cream crackered, and so I'm going to call it a night. Let's just have one little quick run through again. I didn't even use any depth of field in the end. I'm not even sure this effect works either. But, you know, just to show that something could work. See, who said they weren't a concept? That's what I meant to do all along. Make a nice little good night sign. I like it to the side actually. I like it there. Yeah. Oh, I'd have to track in everything. I ain't doing all that. Yes, well, I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm totally delirious. Good night, people.